In the particular episode, our youthful travelers, Lauren and Hito, are enjoying a snorkeling adventure in the Bay of Bengal, India. They are shocked when a gigantic crocodile ambushes them, dragging Lauren beneath the water's surface. Hito battles fiercely, desperate to rescue his friend, but his attempts prove fruitless. When he contacts the authorities, they are skeptical of his narrative, suspecting foul play. However, this changes when Hito's underwater camera is retrieved from the ocean bed, and the recorded video substantiates his account. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tune in Animal Ways Stories. Lauren Failla, a 25-year-old woman residing in Morristown, New Jersey, was an energetic and vivacious person who brought warmth into any room she entered. She devoted her time voluntarily to help those in need. Lauren was a beloved figure in the local community and was also active in youth ministry as a Christian. Despite having endured tough times over the past few years, her unyielding exterior and constant smile didn't betray any of it. Lauren and her family had experienced a severe loss in 2006 when her sister tragically died in a rock climbing accident. The family still grieved this loss, but they managed to find the strength to move forward. Now, 4 years later, another tragedy was looming on the horizon. In April 2010, Lauren embarked on a journey through India. She had chosen to have one last thrilling adventure before transitioning into a new career. Art had always been a significant part of her life. A graduate from Vanderbilt University, she had pursued art studies and produced vibrant surrealistic oil paintings and intricate charcoal sketches. Embracing her love for fashion and flair, she earned a master's degree with distinction from Sotheby's Institute of Art in London. A year after that, she decided to change her career direction towards social care. Having personally experienced the benefits of social care while coping with her sister's loss, she now felt compelled to reciprocate and contribute to others' well-being. Lauren was zealous about lending a hand to people in need and was always a phone call away for those who sought her help. She crossed paths with a 24-year-old man named Hito Chatta through a mutual acquaintance. Born in Morristown, Hito and Lauren quickly connected. Hito's father hailed from India, which inspired the couple's decision to explore India that April. This journey to India was the ultimate adventure Lauren sought. The Andaman Islands, nestled in the Bay of Bengal, were the epitome of picturesque beauty with their white sandy beaches adorned with blooming flowers, vibrant turquoise waters, and a backdrop of abundant greenery. The islands offered a blend of leisure and adventure to their visitors. Lauren and Hito lodged at the Barefoot Resort on Havelock Island, residing in wooden cabins with thatched roofs surrounded by dense jungle. The cabins were connected to the pristine white beach via quaint walkways. Nearby lay Neal's Cove, a charming spot for snorkeling in the crystalline waters. Neal's Cove was located adjacent to Red Hanagar Beach, an area considered safe by the locals, and no crocodile had ever been spotted there. The environment was not thought to be suitable for saltwater crocodiles due to the lack of mangrove covers and the shallow waters leading out to a reef and the open sea. However, the ensuing events contradicted this assumption. Hito, an adept scuba diver and surfer, felt right at home in the sea. The couple decided to indulge in snorkeling and chose Neal's Cove for their venture. As they waded into the water, they were oblivious to the presence of a gigantic reptile lurking in the open sea, ready to prey. The water was serene, visibility was clear. They swam towards the reef, identifying vibrantly, spotting sea anemones and starfish to each other. The water was warm under the beating sun. Suddenly, a 12-foot crocodile emerged, charging through the water from nowhere. The couple hadn't noticed it earlier as it swiftly approached them. They were too engrossed in the stunning underwater spectacle to notice the imminent danger. The crocodile stealthily glided through the water, its legs tucked into its body and its tail whipping from side to side, displaying the perfect embodiment of an efficient predator. It had detected the two swimmers from a distance and was now zeroing in on them. Out of the blue, the beast struck Lauren, instantly seizing her legs in its mighty jaws. It knocked the breath out of her as it pulled her underwater. Hito witnessed the entire assault unfold. He was merely a few feet away from Lauren. He had been capturing the underwater environment with his camera when the crocodile made its fatal move. Without a second thought, he dropped the camera and swam toward Lauren. If it were possible, he would have put himself between the crocodile and Lauren, but the attack happened too rapidly. It was a surprise assault. Hito has never revealed the struggle that followed out of respect for Lauren's parents. He hasn't spoken about the dreadful sight he witnessed. But his courage was evident as he swam towards the crocodile, trying to save Lauren. He attempted to fend off the beast, but it was too powerful. Weaponless and helpless to pull the creature away from her, he followed his instincts. Without any hesitation, he was there, desperately trying to free Lauren from the crocodile's jaws. He attempted to interpose himself between Lauren and the crocodile, but his efforts were in vain. The crocodile had a firm grip on Lauren and was not willing to let go. Then the crocodile disappeared into the depths, taking Lauren with it. Hito could do nothing but watch as his friend was taken away in such horrifying circumstances. The replay of this terrifying moment and his inability to save her will forever haunt him. He swam back to the shore as quickly as he could and sprinted to fetch help, but it was too late. When the authorities arrived, there was no trace of Lauren. They were skeptical of Hito's account initially. He was last seen heading to a secluded cove with a young woman who was now mysteriously missing, which instantly raised red flags for the police. They found his story hard to believe. No crocodile had ever been spotted in that cove. It didn't appear to be the right habitat for them, and it was unlikely they would venture so far from their typical secluded vegetation abodes. Despite Hito's earnest attempts to relay what had occurred, his words fell on skeptical ears. A search operation for Lauren commenced, but as hours turned into days, Hito's account became increasingly doubtful. It was not until 2 days later that Lauren's body was recovered. In a fortunate twist of fate, Hito's camera was also retrieved from the ocean floor, offering a vital piece of evidence. Up until then, officials had suspected Hito of playing a role in Lauren's disappearance, which could have led to severe implications for him. However, when they reviewed the footage, they could barely make out the attack and Hito's valiant attempts to fend off the giant crocodile. The camera, as it descended into the depths, managed to capture a glimpse of the action near the surface. Lauren's family was naturally devastated by the news. She was expected back home soon after the snorkeling trip to attend a concert organized for a church youth project. However, rather than celebrating the youth, the event became a tribute to Lauren's memory. Her cousin was deeply upset that there were no warning signs about the potential presence of crocodiles. She firmly stated that Lauren would never have entered the water if she had been aware of the lurking dangers. Following the tragedy, the family discovered that the Lohabarak Crocodile Sanctuary was situated merely 45 miles from the island. There had been instances reported of crocodiles escaping in the past. The local government came under fire. On the morning of June 8, 2018, a seemingly ordinary Friday, 47-year-old Shizuka Matsuki was alone at home. Her husband was on a business trip in Chicago, and their son was working in New York. After rising for the day, Shizuka donned her workout attire and ventured outside with her 3 dogs. She was an active woman who relished the outdoor lifestyle Florida provided, with its balmy tropical climate, stunning coastline, and extensive freshwater lakes. Shizuka and her husband Yukio had relocated from Japan to Florida in 1996. They had a son in plantation and had established a life for themselves there. Despite her petite stature, Shizuka had an enormous heart. She was known for her hospitality, often opening her home to all. She was a passionate cook, and her son's friends never left her house hungry. Her name, translating to serenity in Japanese, perfectly encapsulated how she lived, with a peaceful demeanor that touched everyone who knew her. Shizuka had a deep love for animals. She was known to rescue iguanas caught out in the cold, nurturing them back to health under heat lamps in her home. She saved wandering turtles from bustling roads and cared deeply for her 3 rescue dogs, Junior, Paco, and Momo. One of them had even been found as a stray in the Everglades. Every morning, Shizuka would walk her dogs in Davies Wolf Lake Park, relishing in the fresh air and nature sounds, with the sun shining on the lakes and ponds of her home community. It was not uncommon for her dogs, and many others, to leap into the water to cool down. However, there had recently been a warning from wildlife officials. An alligator, 7 feet in length, had been spotted in the vicinity of Shizuka's house. It had been seen basking on the banks, and one had even found its way to someone's front porch. An ominous sign, perhaps. An email had been circulated among locals, cautioning them about the dangers posed by the local wildlife. On the particular morning of the alligator sighting, There were rumors that Wolf Lake Park was closed. Consequently, Shizuka decided to take her dogs to Silver Lakes Rotary Park, southeast of Fort Lauderdale. She had strolled around the nature reserve's 2 water bodies before, often accompanied by her husband. However, Yukio had cautioned his wife about visiting Silver Lakes without him. He distrusted the area and its inhabitants. Shizuka had previously been berated by a local resident who had spitefully told her to go back to Japan and had even attempted to run over one of her dogs with their BMW. But on this fateful day, it wasn't the people Shizuka needed to fear. A 12-foot alligator lay submerged in one of the park's lakes, its eyes and nostrils barely breaking the water's surface. It watched patiently, silently, and unmoving as Shizuka and her 3 dogs approached the water's edge. The dogs frolicked in the shallows, oblivious to the lurking danger beneath the surface. An inviting rope swing hung from an overhanging branch, tempting children to plunge into the placid lake. The scene was serene, the water surface still and calm. Nobody can say for certain what transpired next. In an instant, Shizuka was dragged into the water by the immense alligator. There were no witnesses to her outcry. No one heard a scream. It's possible she knelt beside the water to adjust her shoelace or paused to admire her dogs and the picturesque surroundings. Or perhaps the alligator lunged at one of her dogs and she courageously intervened. Whatever the scenario, it was a swift and catastrophic end for the vibrant mother. With a grip from the formidable reptile's jaws, she was hauled underwater. She stood no chance against the raw power of the alligator. Within moments, she would have been submerged, held beneath the water until her lungs gave out. It was a harrowing and tragic end for someone so full of life. Just minutes after Shizuka was dragged underwater, a passerby named Rich heard a clamor near the lake. 3 dogs were barking fervently, 2 were near a solitary car in the parking lot, and a 3rd was at the water's edge. Rich had observed a woman walking her dogs around the lake earlier and noticed her sudden absence. His heart pounded as he spotted an ominous shadow in the water, the known resident 12-foot alligator, lying eerily still. Shizuka was nowhere in sight. The lone dog by the water seemed to bark in desperation, as if it had witnessed its owner's horrific fate. One of the dogs had a significant wound across its flank and thigh, a stark indication of the deadly encounter. Had the dog tried to defend Shizuka? Or had Shizuka intervened to save the dog from the alligator's grasp? The police arrived on the scene at approximately 9:45 a.m., accompanied by officials from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. They captured and euthanized the suspected alligator. Upon examination, their fears were confirmed. Inside the beast's stomach, they found an arm bearing a distinctive tattoo, Shizuka's unique mark. It was heart-wrenching news for her family and sent a shockwave through the community. A search for the rest of Shizuka's remains continued throughout the day. Around 10 p.m., her body was discovered in the lake. It appeared Shizuka had been in the wrong place at the wrong time, but if not her, it could have been someone else. Locals knew of the alligator's presence in the lake and continued to walk their dogs there, albeit with caution, always keeping them on a leash. The alligator threat was known. A local reporter had spotted a 7-foot alligator in one of the lakes earlier that week, and a resident had lost her poodle at Christmas, presumed to be the prey of an alligator. In the aftermath of Shizuka's tragic death, over 300 mourners attended her funeral, a testament to the love and respect she had earned. Her son, Katana, who was working in New York's fashion industry at the time of his mother's death, returned to Florida to be with his father. Together, they pledged to keep Shizuka's memory alive. Known for her love of animals, Shizuka had always desired to establish an animal shelter if she ever had the resources. To honor her memory, Katana and his father set out to raise funds to fulfill her dream of intending to help animals most in need. It was a fitting tribute to a woman who had shown such compassion and care. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more content like this. This Animal Ways Stories